All right, everybody, buckle up because today we're going deep on something that's a little unnerving, to be honest. It's called vendor email compromise, VEC for short.
VEC. And
A big one?
it really is. And, we talk about phishing a lot on this show, and everybody listening knows, like, keep an eye out for phishing scams. But this is like phishing's scary cousin.
Way scarier
Yeah.
because it's not just random, it is targeted.
Yes.
They are using information that they have gleaned about your business relationship.
They're weaponizing trust, basically.
Absolutely.
And we're seeing this. I mean, we wouldn't be doing a deep dive on it if it wasn't a huge problem.
Right.
Abnormal Security, they did this big research report, and they found that these VEC attacks have gone up, get this, 156%
Wow.
in a year, in
Yeah.
a single year. So that's not just like, oh, it's a little uptick. That's a lot.
Yeah. So let's paint a picture for everybody listening. Let's say you work in accounting
Yep.
at a company and, invoices are coming in, you're paying them. That's how business works.
Right.
And then, bam, you get hit with this fake invoice.
And you would never even know. I mean, that's the thing.
Right.
Because they're so good.
Because it's not like some shoddy thing where like, oh, the logo's a little bit off or something.
Right. They are mimicking, logos. They have all the right information.
And because they've access often to the real deal. Right.
Exactly.
They've gotten into a system, maybe they've already compromised a different employee, gotten their login credentials, and they've sat there and they've been able to like download real invoices.
It's like, it really is like that spy movie trope, right?
Yeah.
Where they like swap out the briefcase, and you open it up and it's full of like newspapers.
Right, right.
That's essentially what they're doing, except it's your bank account.
It's terrifying.
It is.
And we were looking at the source material for this deep dive, and it goes way beyond invoices.
Oh, yeah.
Which is really scary to think about. Like, we found stuff about these RFQ scams, so that's requests for quotes.
Right. So that's like the actual ordering process.
Right.
Yeah.
They're getting in there, and they are manipulating the entire system.
Yeah, they are.
So they might actually get goods sent somewhere.
Oh, absolutely.
And then the vendor never gets paid.
Never sees a dime. And I think there was an example, is a furniture wholesaler lost over $1 million worth of office chairs.
$1 million.
Yeah, just gone.
Just high-end office chairs, bam, gone.
And because those systems are in place, right?
Right.
Like if you get an order from a company you've worked with before, you're going to fulfill that order.
Especially if it's a big, juicy order like that.
Exactly. And that's
Yeah.
what they're banking on,
Wow.
is that trust and that history.
Yeah. It's like they're playing chess and everyone else is playing checkers or something.
Yeah, exactly.
And then the other thing that we saw, and this is like next level, is this update your billing trick. So tell me about this.
So this one is particularly insidious, I think, because it really plays on like people trying to be helpful.
Yeah.
Right? So you get an email, appears to be from a legitimate vendor you work with, and they say, hey, just want to let you know we've updated our billing information. And they give you a new account number, new routing number, and often they time these to coincide with when a legitimate invoice would be coming through.
Right.
So you're already expecting an invoice, and then you get this email saying, oh, by the way, new information, and you just update it without thinking. And there goes all your future payments to that vendor. They're going to the attacker.
And the sums of money that we're talking about here are not insignificant.
No, this is not just like, oh, we lost a couple $100. The average VEC attack, according to Abnormal Security, costs businesses $183,000.
It's wild. And you think, okay, with stakes this high, with this much money on the line, we must have some serious defenses in place.
Right. Like surely the cybersecurity industry has figured this out.
Yeah. I mean, alarm bells are going off. Surely someone's doing something.
Right.
Well, this is where it gets really interesting, and you're going to want to stick around for part 2.
Yeah.
Because we're going to talk about why traditional defenses are failing miserably when it comes to VEC.
Yeah, they're just not cutting it.
They're not. So we've been talking about these VEC attacks, how much money companies are losing. It's a lot. Hundreds of thousands of dollars. You would think that, I don't know, like our email systems, our security would be able to sniff this stuff out.
Right.
But it turns out not so much.
Not so much, no. And it's really interesting, actually, why.
Yeah, why is that?
So traditional email security, it's kind of like, bringing a knife to a gunfight.
Ooh.
It's just not equipped to deal with the sophistication.
Right, because it's looking for things that are like, oh, this attachment looks a little funky. This link is bad.
Right. Spammy. Yeah, that sort of thing.
Yeah, but that's not what VEC is.
It's not. It looks totally normal.
Because they're using, like we were saying, real accounts, real invoices.
Exactly. It's like, imagine you have a security guard, right, standing at the door,
Okay.
and they're checking IDs, but the person coming in has a perfectly legitimate ID.
Right.
They're not going to know.
Yeah. So even if you have, like we were talking about DMR, which some people listening might know about,
Yeah.
it's basically a way to verify the sender, but even that doesn't always work.
A lot of times it doesn't because
Yeah.
it's coming from a real email address.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Really makes you want to, like, throw your computer at the window.
I know. It's like, what can you do?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the source material that we were looking at for this deep dive, they gave this really interesting example about this. I think it was an email from somebody named Jonathan or something.
Right.
And it seems totally harmless, just asking about some payments or something.
And I think this really highlights I don't know, brilliance is the right word,
Yeah.
but they're not trying to reinvent the wheel,
Yeah.
right? They're using the same psychological tricks that have always worked on people.
Yeah. Yeah. They're playing on, like, our inherent need to trust
Exactly.
and, and to get things done. It's like you were saying before, there's this urgency. Like,
Yeah.
do this now or else.
Exactly. Exactly. They'll say things like, we need you to confirm these details before noon, or urgent payment confirmation required.
And you're at your desk, you're already stressed out.
Yeah. You've got a million things going on.
Right, and you see that, and you're like, oh, shoot,
Yep.
I got to do this right now.
Right. They're hoping you're not going to think, you're going to just react.
And they often will use, like, your name or something to make it seem like, oh, this is legit.
Yeah, they'll say like, hey, your name, just following up on.
Right, to make it seem like it's a normal conversation.
Right, like a normal email totally disarms you.
So it's like our technology isn't really there yet to, like, fully protect us. And then on top of that, they're using these tactics that kind of, like, trick our brains.
Right, it's like a double whammy.
Yeah. So what can we do? Like, if we can't rely on technology and we can't even rely on our own brains, are we just doomed? So we've talked about how scary these VEC attacks are, how they can really mess things up for businesses.
Yeah. It's not all doom and gloom.
No, exactly.
Like, there are things we can do.
Okay, good, because I was feeling a little
Yeah.
like, should I just, like, dig a hole and hide?
No, don't do that.
Yeah.
So one thing that the source material really stresses is awareness training,
Okay.
like educating yourself,
Yeah.
educating your employees.
Right, because you can have all the fancy tech in the world, but if somebody's just going to click on anything,
Exactly.
then it doesn't even matter.
Eat your toast, yeah.
So let's talk about some practical things that people listening can do.
Yeah.
Like, what can we actually do to protect ourselves?
So number one, and this is going to sound so simple, but slow down.
Oh, okay.
Like, don't let that sense of urgency.
Right.
Because remember how we were talking about those emails? They always have that, like,
That panic that, like,
do this now. Yeah.
right.
That's designed to make you not think.
To short circuit your brain.
Exactly. So anytime you get an email, it's like, urgent, you have to do this right now. That should be a red flag.
Like a big old siren going off.
Yes. Take a breath, look at it carefully.
Just don't just, like, blindly click.
No. And especially, like, any request for payment information.
Oh, yeah.
Changes in billing, anything like that, double check, triple check.
Don't just hit reply on that email,
Yeah.
pick up the phone or something.
Exactly. Verify it through a different channel.
Oh, that's such good advice. So slow down, verify, anything else.
Yeah, and this one is more on kind of a company level,
Okay.
but be an advocate.
Okay.
Like, ask your company, what are we doing about VEC? Do we have security measures in place? Are we training people on this?
Don't be afraid to ask those questions.
Exactly.
Because it's their responsibility to protect, their employees and their bottom line.
Absolutely.
This whole conversation got me thinking, like, they're targeting businesses, but could individuals get hit with this too?
Absolutely, yeah.
Like, what if I get an email that looks like it's from Amazon?
Right, saying your payment information's out of date or something.
Yeah. Or like my bank.
Exactly. It's the same principle, right?
Yeah.
They're preying on that trust that you have.
So it's like, this stuff, it can happen to anybody.
Anyone.
So I think the takeaway here is just be vigilant.
Be careful out there.
Yeah, be careful out there, everybody. Trust your gut. If something seems off, it probably is. Well, this has been a fascinating, if slightly terrifying, deep dive. into the world of VEC.
World
of VEC, yeah. We'll make sure to put some links and resources in the show notes for
Yeah.
everybody
Yes, good idea.
so you can protect yourselves and your companies. Until next time, stay safe out there